Welcome everyone to a casted game for Age of Empires 4, and today spawning in the south corner of the map playing in red, we've got beastyqt playing as the Ottomans, and his opponent in the north playing in blue, we've got May playing as the Delhi Sultanate. Welcome everyone to Lipany. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in the world. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Today we're going to see some action between the Ottomans versus the Delhi Sultanate. Two great civilizations which... actually, to be fair, I mean, it's kind of interesting to see how this one pans out, right? We've got the Delhi Sultanate, very much known for their feudal age aggression, can venture out onto the berries and get plenty of sheep by keeping the scout out and about extra long. The Ottomans, they're a bit of an interesting civilization. They've gone through a lot of changes recently, actually. They used to be a very heavy sort of feudal age civilization, similar to the Delhi Sultanate in many ways, but at the moment, actually, they've been played a little bit more towards the mid to late game orientation. Sort of fast castle is an option for them at times. Going for late stage games, things like the Great Bombard can work quite well for them. They've got a couple of tools up their armory, in particular sort of hard counter units like the Janissaries, that do great against cavalry units, which of course the Delhi Sultanate are likely to try and open up with. The Delhi Sultanate do love to open up with the Ghazi Raiders and do a lot of damage with them, look to contest the sacred sites in the feudal age, and try and put some pressure on, meanwhile slowly edging towards Castle Age, rather than it being a huge focus for them. But kind of curious to see how this will turn out. Obviously, a map like Lipany is an interesting one in terms of spawning. Pretty even spread of the sacred sites, I've got to say. Sometimes it can be a little bit skewed, but not too shabby here for both players. What I would say is that the wood spawning here for Beasty is a little bit suspect, right? Like the two wood lines there on the forward position, not ideal at all. If that does get pressured, could become a problem for Beasty. We shall see how he ends up playing this one out. Now, I would like to say a very big thank you for everyone who's been supporting the channel, whether it be on Twitch or YouTube. You guys are absolute legends. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Special shout out, of course, to the YouTube channel members and the Twitch subscribers going the extra mile and supporting me as a content creator. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a while, actually. I've been focusing a lot more on Stormgate recently, casting a lot of games for that game. Of course, on a separate channel, because of course this is an Age of Empires 4 channel. It always would be that way, just so that you guys always get the type of content you're expecting. Speaking of which, if you are interested in Stormgate, you might want to actually jump on and say hi on my YouTube channel for Stormgate. I'll leave a link in the video description, hopefully. If not, I'm sure you could just search for it on the YouTube search bar and you'll probably find me. Stormgate is looking pretty promising. Going to be coming out in early access in the end of this month, in July 2024. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Of course, it's a slightly different type of game, but it is an RTS game nonetheless. So it might be something that you'd be interested in. It's going to be a tower victory opening here for May. Going to exercise that ability of getting the extra 20% attack speed on the infantry. Pretty hefty for the Delhi. And the Ottomans going to go up with the sultanate trade network. Not something we've seen all that common before. It's playing a bit more of a role now for the Ottomans. It does help with that castle age timing, especially if they get pushed off of gold, because they will be able to passively get gold generation. I actually quite like this this landmark. I actually made quite a few build orders at the start of the DLC that came out for the Ottomans, because I thought this was always a very good, strong landmark, but then it was always really the twin minaret madrasa that was played a lot by the Ottomans. But it has started to come back now, this Sultanate trade network. I like it because, you know, you've got the gold passive generation. It's just a swap for the food, really. But more importantly, if you do have a favorable trade post, you can trade with it. This is not ideal, obviously, in this particular spawn. But I guess in terms of, it makes a lot of sense, this play, because this kind of Ottomans playstyle of now going towards the castle age, gold becomes a little bit more significant at times to get there. Especially with the gold position being so far forward. Now with the early military school, it's not actually putting too much pressure on just yet. It's going to be looking at actually pushing the deer camp. That's a double deer stack, so if you can push all of this in, that would be pretty impressive. We'll have to see if that's something he manages to do. There it is. There's the feudal age now in for the Delhi Sultanate. And I wonder if he's going to drop down a stable. Kind of expecting to see it, but you never know, right? Yeah, he's going to go for the stable added on in. The typical kind of Ghazi Raider Archer armor composition could be on the menu here for the Delhi. And he does spawn with 3 traders off the bat, of course. Here, Beasty. Let's bring in the stone back home for another military school. Currently toggled onto Spearmen. Not made any switches, actually, which is kind of understandable, right? Because it's going to be up against Ghazi Raiders, so it makes a lot of sense to have some Spearmen. Looks like scholars, are they out now? Are they out and about? No, not yet. Well, one's just garrisoned inside the stable. So we'll be acting as a sort of double stable production essentially here, with efficient production, increasing the rate of production of that stable. Allows the Delhi Sultan to get a lot of units out quickly. Now May will spot this, maybe look to try and contest this, maybe kill a couple of deer in awkward spots. But he should be okay with this one. He's got Spearman ultimately, Beasty, so I don't think May can do too much damage here unless he gets archers. Of course, which is a bit of a lag time behind getting that. He's going to opt for a blacksmith rather first for those all-important upgrades. Which of course he'll queue up for free, just a matter of time before they come in. He's going to get an outpost in gold, and that kind of telegraphs a castle age play, right, here from Beasty. Most likely, it seems. And it's quite nice because it does then give them the ability to get the mangonels on the Mehmed Imperial Armory for free. It's a really powerhouse unit, and it forces the Delhi into trying to snipe them, maybe go to the castle age themselves. But it really comes down to how much damage the Delhi Sultanate can do. Did go for a bit of extra stone, was he? Yeah, I think maybe probably just for military schools more than anything. Can't imagine, of course, he'd be thinking about any other extra town centres. Can't be. It's going to get Aristids inside the outpost just to protect the gold income. And there's the archery range here for May and the Delhi. Now with the Tower of Victory opening, it does delay the scholars coming out a little bit to pick up the sacred sites, but against a civilization like Ottomans that can get a couple of units out early, it's not the end of the world because you do want a sizable force for the Delhi before you start venturing out. And that can take time. Speaking of which, a sizable force, Ghazi Raider numbers are starting to climb. But I don't think you can dive in too much, right? There's spearmen here, 2 of them, and yeah, mostly just to be a nuisance more than anything. But with Aristids in play, I think Beasty should be fine to pick in these deer, and whilst he might not take these immediately, like it's going to be a really nice amount of food coming on in as an injection. Because that's a lot of food. Holy moly. He's going to add in a barracks and has still going for spearmen. So yeah, he's concerned, of course, against the Ghazi Raiders. What's a little bit concerning, though, for this situation is that he's probably going to need to add in another secondary unit here, Beasty. Considering the fact that Delhi also do typically get archers, and he's got double archery range production now. So those spearmen are going to be picked apart unless he gets any counter units for the archers. Sipahi spearmen could be a nice option for him, but you know, with the ranged ability for the archers for Delhi, it can be a problem. There's of course a huge chance that they go for the sort of the hit and run tactics. And first sacred site being capped here on the west side. I suspect it's going to go for the one on the east as well. There we go. The great thing for this for the Delhi is, of course, it will be bringing that gold trickle in. It will be edging towards the castle age, unless he drops a market and trades it in for food and wood for more units, which is always a possibility. Wait, what's going on here? Okay, it's going to go for a palisade forwardly. That's kind of awkward for May. Going to try and wall Beasty in. Understandably so, because he wants to get a bit of pressure on the map. It's going to be the Mehmed Imperial Army. No real surprises there for Beasty. So decent uptime, but he's going to give the map away a little bit in terms of control towards the Delhi. And he's got 2 sacred sites already. He's going to be able to wall up with the archers as well. That's a big detail because, of course, the Delhi don't need to use villagers to build walls. So he can use the army whilst it's on the forward position on the field and wall it all up. Now, considering he's got 2 back goals, Beasty in the corner of the map, he shouldn't be too hard done by as long as he can secure this edge of the map, the west side. We'll have to see if that's doable or not. Sacred site is being capped now for May. In the middle, so we'll activate the sacred site timer. And probably want to get that as soon as possible, really. May going to get a siege ram. Not a siege ram, a battering ram there out. We're looking to put some pressure on. It is usually about the 11-12 minute mark where the Delhi do typically have a lot of units on the field. And with Castle Age now, he's got to be a bit careful, right? Because Beasty will start to get a couple of heavily armoured units. Maybe Lancers potentially. We'll see. Yeah, he's going to go for the Lancer with the double stable. The sacred site timer has been activated. So 10 minutes on the clock. And with the Castle Age units popping out soon, looks like Beasty might be thinking about going to the deer stack. Because he is running out of sheep. But here comes a ram. So it's definitely need to secure this area. Gold is going to be important, right? It's one thing getting to the Castle Age, but it's another thing actually making it worth your while. To make units, the heavily armoured units that Castle Age brings you, you're going to need that gold. And villagers moving away from gold now. Archers garrisoning inside the battering ram and keeping them safe. The battering ram takes that out really quickly. That outpost didn't stand a chance, and this is where it becomes kind of awkward, right? Because Beasty's golds are all on the left side. And so the attack coming in from the left side really hurts him, makes it very exposed, very difficult to get food as well because of the deer stack. This is looking a bit dicey for Beasty, actually. He doesn't really have all that many units. You can see the Delhi got plenty. My first Lancer pops out. Bear in mind as well, the Ghazi Raiders, whilst they are kind of a horseman line unit, they do have a +2 damage against heavily armored units. So they do a lot better than your usual horsemen do against Lancers. Look at this May going to be walling up the gold vein as well, just to make sure gold income is delayed for as long as possible. He's even going to make a play for the Sultanate trade network. I mean, you've got to make the ram do its work, right? Got to keep it active and working. Ghazi Raiders going to go around the right side, around the back, and the main detail to consider is the sacred sites. They're already capped for May, so the timer's ticking for Beasty. He's going to have to get out on the map soon. He does deploy another military school. 4 in total so far. So plenty of free units, but it takes time, right? Looks like he's maybe trying to save up for a keep. Can't be for a second town center, right? Surely. But he needs to find a way to defend this position. And this is so crazy from May and the Delhi. He's just going to protect the archers. Make sure that he can't get wrapped around by a cavalry, which is a nice approach, actually, considering because the ram is relatively safe. Like, he can just stand here with the archers and just keep firing, peppering arrows. If he does make a bit of a play plan for himself, although he's not doing that, he's going to lose that ram in the end. Maginot pops out, so May does have to be a bit careful. Behind all of this, he's got plenty of gold coming in because of the sacred sites. He's got food coming in too, so I might be thinking about the castle age. Bear in mind, he's been able to venture out on the berries on the extremities of his base area because he's got full map control. So he should get plenty of food to get to that castle age. Once he does, he should have a lot of units that he can upgrade. It will take a bit of time to do that though, because of course the Delhi, you know, they get the tech ups for free, but they are dependent on how many scholars you have in your mosques. So it does take some time. We'll see how quickly he manages to get there. Beasty making the most of the gold that he has on this southern portion of the map as the archers now circle around on the right side, looking to attack this wood line. And this is a bit of a concern for Beasty. He might run out of wood. And the reason why that's a concern is if he does need a farming transition, he's not going to have the wood for it. Although, I mean, he might need a... This is really awkward, right? Because the walls here were perfect for the deer camp. That's the big deal. Like, gold is one thing, but the deer stack was something that I think Beasty was relatively reliant on, right? He doesn't have any other food income apart from these berries, and if he needs a farming transition, well, that's bad enough as it is that you need one. But it's even worse if you don't have the wood for it. You tried to palisade wall the wood as well, so May trying to lame everything he possibly can. Bear in mind, the time is still ticking, right? 6.5 minutes, but this one might be decamped. There is a man-at-arms there going out for Beasty. I'm sure the Delhi Sultanate will want to try and take care of that, actually, because, you know, the Sacred Site victory win condition is a very real possibility here for May. Going to be walling up on the right side as well, just to make sure I can't get to these berries. It seems like it's not really achieving that much, but it really is. Like, to cordon off these resources, make it so much harder for him to get food, it's a big deal. Does deal with the man-at-arms in the end, and he should be able to break out. There's lots of heavy armoured melee units, like with the torches, of course, Beasty. He's ventured out onto wood once again. But you can see Beasty is struggling on food. He's got absolutely zero food in the bank, by the way. I mean, he can't even keep the town centre running at this point. That's the crazy situation we have. I mean, thankfully he's got the Sultanate trade network, so maybe he's buying in the food, potentially. Archer's backing away, and... Well, now that the palisades have been destroyed, I suspect he will send some villagers over to Deer. He needs that food ASAP. Delhi, they're going to be upgrading, and it's going to take a while to get there, though. I think 3 minutes 30 seconds, maybe that was. That's a long time. Meantime, Beasty's going to head on out. And he's got a full force here. Plenty of lancers. There's a mangonel behind it. And even a mehter or two. So we'll look to decap the sacred site. It's only 5 minutes on the clock, but I don't know if May's got enough to do with this. Because fundamentally, these units are still feudal age units, right? It's going to need about another 3 minutes to get them to castle age units. It's got a couple of lancers maybe there, but not enough really to do. Although there's only one spearman being put out here. So maybe we'll snipe it and keep the sacred site for a little bit longer. Does dive on in with the Ghazis. Or 2 mangonels now, though. Does deploy. Doesn't get a massive hit at all just yet. But you can threaten with it, right? And May's not jumping into this. Not yet. The decap will come on in the central sacred site. In fact, it's going to be coming up on the one on the east side as well, most likely. But there is a pivot point here. May obviously has to be a bit defensive for the time being. But once the upgrades goes in, May should be in a good spot. Obviously, production capabilities will be fierce. Has also got a siege workshop, so possibly looking to get a couple of sprinkles. Mangonel deploys, gets a massive shot on those archers and the spearmen alike. Ghazi Raider's going to dive on in. Going to try and snipe at the meta or 2 if they can. Mangonels might deploy, we shall see. That's exactly what they do. It's a massive choke point, but focusing mostly on the spearmen for now. Sacred Site has been decapped, so the timer has been erased, but May's looking to try and dive on this. Mangonels well protected. Village coming out to repair as well. Ghazi Raider's going to try and get up with a massive shot on the Mangonels. But he does have a Springald behind all this. Just one. Picks off one Mangonel. About to pick off a second potentially here. This could be big for May. Spread formation comes on in. Keeps the archers alive. And this is a good fight here for May overall. Although those man-at-arms will be hard to deal with, right? Only archers here for May. So we'll have to back away. There's a couple of crossbows sprinkled in, to be fair. And that's what he needs to really get the damage out on these lancers. He needs to try and keep the Springald alive if he can. Just in case a couple more Mangonels might pop out for the Ottomans. Overall, though, he might win this fight, especially with the reinforcements coming on. It's looking good. He's back on the deer camp. Bit of a raid here with the man-at-arms on the berries. Villagers not all being able to garrison inside there. But the fight really is happening down the middle, and May's going to win that fight massively. This is huge. Could potentially also look to get the sacred site once again. If not for the sacred site timer, at least for the gold income. He's got man-at-arms of his own now. There's going to be a problem for the Ottomans to deal with. Beasty does have one Mangonel to work with. But he's got the counter unit, the Springald. Won't be able to one-shot it. He needs to keep the Springald alive. Does for now. Man-at-arms tanking there for the Delhi Sultanate. Oh, he's got to be careful with the Springald. I think he loses it. He does. That allows the Mangonels to get a couple of shots here, potentially for free. WALLED mostly just does... Wait, mate. No. He's going to snipe it. I don't think he gets it. Oh, he just about got it in the end. Playing with fire. That was close. Surprised to see him dive in there. That was, it felt like the timer on the WALLED was less than half before he decided to dive in. That was kind of quite ballsy, I got to say, for me. But can't knock it in the end. It worked for him. He's on the berries around the back, and it comes down to whether farming transitions are needed, right? There's plenty of food still here, although there's a lot of villagers on food here for Beasty. At one point, I wonder if May needs to think about farms. There's a lancer wrapping around in the back. This could be big damage, and it's going to idle a lot of these berry villagers. WALLED, will he try it here, Beasty? Or will he just try and bring the relic back home? He's already got two relics in the bank, actually, and that's the third. But it's relatively even split, all things considered. And he has now all got 3 of the sacred sites, May. To activate the timer once again. Oh no, the villagers. He's not spotted this. Fully expected to see those villagers back away, but he's going to lose all of them, May, I'm afraid. That's unfortunate. Might lose a spring or 2. WALLED coming up on the west side. He's going to go for a wall on the villagers. Oh, he's got to get out of there. Might lose Ghazi Raider. He doesn't. He deletes it in the end, May. He will lose the scholar, the imam with the relic. But kind of crazy few minutes, right? Lost a couple of villagers there, May. Unnecessary around the back. He didn't spot it. Now he's under pressure down in the middle. He's going to charge him with a lot of lancers. Crossbows added into the mix as well for Beasty, so heavily armored units will be problematic for the Delhi Sultanate to use. But just as well, he had Ghazi Raiders left over from the Feudal Age, had archers left over from the Feudal Age. They'll work well against this. And he's going to clear that army up. It's got double the military numbers, which is great. So it's not by any means out of this game. In fact, he's probably in a good spot. If anything, the Delhi. But we know what Beasty can do at times. And he has started the farming transition. Might be the same the case for the Ottomans, though. He's run out of food in terms of the deer stack. He's going to go for another town centre here behind this. This is kind of interesting, actually, because it's going to invite a lot of pressure because, of course, whilst it will build up the economy, it takes a bit of time to scale, and food is a bit of a scarce resource here for Beasty, right? So it's going to drain a lot of food out of the military production. Now, granted, he does have the military school, so he's going to get 3 units at least, which is actually a big deal. I think that really eases the burdens on the economy, being able to get that second town center. He wouldn't be able to do it if he didn't have the military schools. No doubt about it. A couple of lancers wrapping around the back this time for the Delhi. Looking to decap the sacred site. Not for the first time, of course. He's going to wall up here on the west side as well. Really trying to corner Beasty. It's working so far, to be fair. And the kind of crazy situation is, if he does get the walls up and he attacks down the middle, he might push Beasty off of wood for a very long time. He's going to look to try and break out here on the right side. A couple of cavalry, a couple of crossbows. And it's nice to see these farms trickling in here for the Delhi. It just makes the transition a lot more smoother. Enables them to keep pumping out units. Does leave the sacred site on the right side. But he should be able to clear up the lancers in the end. Yeah, he will do. Down they go. 21 minutes on the clock. But yeah, it feels like the Ottomans definitely going to be defensive in the next couple of minutes. Sure, he's getting units from the military school, but getting a second town centre for villager production is going to be quite heavy on that food income being put towards that. He's going for the berries. Yeah, I kind of worry for Beasty because he's going to run out of berries pretty soon, and once he does, he's going to need a very hard farming transition. And if May times this well, that could be the time to pounce. Villagers venturing out to an outpost just to get the extra vision, just to know what's happening coming his way. Just going to go with a couple of Sabahi, wrap around the back and see if he can get some damage here, Beasty. Though the armor's coming in now, and so those Sabahi might be out of position. All these villagers. I mean, you take a chance, right? You always take a chance, and when you do, that's often when you're punished, and May definitely going to punish that. Outpost gets cancelled. One Sabahi peeling off. There's a bit of a... Oh, that's a lot of villagers on that wood line. If he doesn't spot it here, Beasty. Springles takes out one. And villagers on berries. Not all going to be able to garrison inside the outpost. Spearmen charging on through. Crossbows following up. Mangonel might deploy. This could be tricky, but there's 3 Springles. If he gets the Mangonel first, he does get it out. So that's massive for May for sure. Big damage out per unit, the Mangonel. Doesn't get too much out of there. And this could be a fight that May should just win, but he's got a couple of Spy around the back. He's going to charge on that wood line. May, oh, has he not spotted this? He's going to back away now. But he might lose a couple. Great thing for him in the forward position, though. He's getting a lot of damage, and wonder how close we are to a second. Oh, another Mangonel. Looks like it might be coming out soon. Crossbows heading back for Beasty. Sabai going around the back. He thought it might be on berries, but he's not. Right, looks like Beasty's going to try and get a keep up. Does he not? Is that Thunder going through the wall? I think he doesn't know about the walls. That was a bit awkward. Either way, going to go for a ram. Sabahi around the back again on the gold. Should take those villages out really quickly. Massive pick off there by Beasty. That's got a lot of dead villagers, I've got to say. Beasty's getting some really good pickoffs around the back, but he's under pressure. There's a battering ram, crossbows, archers, springalds. And trouble for Beasty is he's kind of struggling on wood. He's managed to relocate to the west side wood line for now. And they're keeping a good spot, actually. He kind of needs that wood protected, right? But it's always a weird situation when you think that wood is an important resource to protect. At this stage of the game, at least. More battering rams coming out, and the big concern for Beasty actually is that his landmarks are one spot, right? There's the Sultanate trade network, there's the main town center, there's the Mehmed Imperial Armory. It's something that actually may look to try and snipe, because the keeper's not really in position, right? It's not going to protect those landmarks. And here comes the farming transition now at probably the worst possible time you could expect, right? Beasty completely out of food. And the big concern for him is if he does try and get siege, well, there's like 3 Springles there for the Delhi. All villagers on farms, though, they're exposed. Sipahi might get a great raid here. That's a lot of units, though, for the Delhi. He's pushing on in. Yeah, the spy, they've started to go for the villagers. There's not a lot here protecting. But is the death ball already there? There's 4 rams. That'll take down the production quickly. If he takes out the military schools, this could be really big for Beasty in terms of damage being done to him, because like, he doesn't have food. Getting 150 food per minute. It's not looking good for him. As more farms come out, but he's still losing more villagers here, May. So many have gone down. Would you believe? He will clear up in the end, but the Sabai got so much value. Here comes the fight. Janissaries mostly, actually, which is not ideal. They get taken apart by the ranged units. A couple of crossbows. There are rams on the Mebidabura armory. That go. Oh, Maginot might pop out at the best time for Beasty. We shall see if he gets a shot off or not. It's going to be a close one. Oh, this is going to be close. I'm not so sure if he gets it or not. It's on fire. It's so close. Oh, it's going to be a tight one. I don't think it happens. I think... Oh, he just went down. And unfortunately, without that mangonel, it feels really dicey now for Beasty. He's still getting value at the back, but he's still killing villagers. But it almost doesn't matter, right? Because this is almost feeling like an all-in push. Well, these rams need to get active. There they are. They're going to go for the stables first. There's only 2 landmarks that remain. Sabai still picking up villagers. Beasty's killed 39 so far, but it might not be enough. They've got to find a way to deal with this. The raids are all but over. He doesn't have any units really, Beasty, to move out with. But what he needs is one big force to deal with these rams, and if these rams take out the production, well, even if he does get resources, he can't make anything. I think that's part of the problem, actually. Because he is floating a bit, Beasty, but there's so much pressure he's having to fight against. He has to make the production buildings. Double siege workshop. This is the problem, right? He's losing the buildings before he can make the new ones. So he can't produce even with the resources he gets. The capital town centre is under fire. There's only a couple of units, Janissaries. A couple of the meta torches are out as well for the melee units. Villagers garrisoning aside. This is not good for Beasty. He does have the villager lead, but that's not what matters really at this point. May have just timed this to perfection. There's only one landmark that remains. House should go down next. He just needs to get wraparound on the Sultanate trade network if he can. 6 rams and mangonel coming out for the Delhi. This could be dangerous. There's only a handful of Janissaries. Beasty, he's under so much pressure. He's been walled in. He's been walled out of the game, it seems. And there it is, Engine. Beasty taps out a great game of Age of Empires 4. Ultimately, the Delhi Sultanate managed to wall him in. And, well, he's not in that strategy you see all that often, but we see it today. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give the video a thumbs up on YouTube. Take care, and see you next time.